Hey, it's Dan with Lord Fairfax Preparedness. Just wanted to do a quick video on campfires for you. Out camping with my family at a river lot my in-laws have, not too far from our home, and there's a lot of videos out on YouTube. Dan Wilwack from Coalcracker Bushcraft, Corporal's Corner, Joe Fox from Viking Preparedness teach you how to do a fire, but I haven't seen many videos, and maybe you can correct me in the comments. Haven't seen too many videos on why it's necessary to keep a fire, other than warmth and obviously the important ones are warmth and cooking food, but security is another one. And I haven't seen a whole lot of touch base on that. But really, if you think about it, for a long-term camp, especially in an SHTF type situation that a lot of those channels touch on, keeping a fire going or multiple fires going for all of those reasons is going to be a full-time job. So how do you deal with that? How much wood do you have? How much fuel do you have to keep a fire going 24/7? Would you let it go out and then rekindle it the next morning, or rekindle it in the evening before cooking? What if it's a security fire? Would you let security fires go out? And then, is it really a security fire if you're letting it go out? But again, the process of processing wood, chopping it, splitting it, and doing all of the things to keep a fire going is really going to be a full-time job. I know in our camp, where we camp for a couple of weeks out here, and it really is a full-time job. Somebody's got to tend to the fire all the time. Now, obviously, we let it go out. In the evenings. My wife and I'll let it die down. After we put the kids to bed, we hang out by the fire for a little bit and enjoy the evening without any kids bugging us. And then, when we retire for the night, we kind of let it dwindle down to coals. That being said, we have a deep fire pit, and we're surrounded by trees at our campsite, so the risk of wind coming in and stirring up and blowing a bunch of coals and starting a woods fire is limited. Thank you very much. But so in the morning, I typically, or my oldest son will throw a bunch of sticks and stuff on the fire and get a fire going again in the morning. And so we can, sometimes we make breakfast on there. We make coffee, campfire coffee, and that kind of thing, bacon and eggs. Campfire breakfasts are kind of fun, even though we have some modern amenities out here where we camp. But having a fire going so that you can cook, you can stay warm, or get warm if you need to, and keeping it for security is kind of a big thing. So, what do you think about that? I'm on vacation. So, how would you go about doing that? How do you secure the amount of wood that you need to keep a fire going, or multiple fires going? Now, in our campsite, we have our our fire pit by our campsite. My sister-in-law has an adjacent campsite near us on the same lot with a fire pit as well. And then my in-laws have a spot where they can park their camper with a little fire pit. And then there's a spot towards the road of the campsite where you can do another fire pit with a tent site and hammocks. So how do you do that? How do you keep let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 fires going all at once if you had to without purchasing wood? Well, obviously, where we are, there's a lot of fallen wood. There's dead wood that we can gather and collect. If purchasing wood is not an option, you have to look at possibly, if all of the dead wood gets collected, possibly felling trees then, wouldn't you? So how do you do that? Obviously, this isn't going to be a video about felling trees, but it's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a full-time job for somebody or a couple of somebodies to keep those fires going. They're for the purposes of cooking. Obviously, you want to get those fires up for your meal times, right? Stoking up the fires for breakfast, maybe letting it go down a little bit, stoking it up for lunchtime if you're doing a hot lunch, and then letting it go down and then stoking it back up for cooking dinner. So your fires will get added to and stoked for specific times. For a security fire, maybe you're keeping it lit all the time, 24/7. How long are you camping? How long are you out? How long are you in the wilderness? Is it a survival situation where you need to you're using it for signaling, or you're using it for some other purpose? If you're using it for warmth, you don't want to let it die down. And obviously, there's lots of videos out there with how to build shelters that will collect the heat so that you don't have to build great big fires that will keep you warm throughout a cold period or throughout the night, especially in colder nights in the fall and winter. But there's lots of channels out there. Bloke in the Woods, again, Coal Cracker Bushcraft. A lot of those videos, a lot of those YouTubers who with much bigger platforms than I have will be able to do some of those and have those videos out posted already. But again, keeping something stocked, keeping wood stocked up. We had the opportunity to harvest a fallen tree at my kid's school, and we've already gone down probably a third or 2/3 of what we collected just in the 2 weeks we've been back. Again, we're letting it die down. We're letting it die down in the evenings. We're relighting it at night, but it's been going pretty much nonstop from morning until night since we started camping. So, how do you sustain that? What do you have planned to sustain that? I'd be interested in hearing what you have to say. Looking forward to some comments. Again, this isn't something that I have figured out by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just trying to think out loud, really, and I apologize. I'm really not good at this YouTube thing, or being in front of a camera. I am much better behind the camera and than I am in front of it. So I apologize for my stuttering and pauses. But I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. I don't have this figured out. I know we come back, we have opportunities to gather wood, and like I said, from my kids' school, and we're going to go back and do it again before our next camp here in a couple of weekends before the kids go back to school. I'd be really interested to see what you guys have to say, to hear what your thoughts are on how to keep a sustainment fire going like that. And maybe that is a thing. Maybe it's not a security fire. Maybe it's maybe it's not a warmth fire. Maybe it's not a cooking fire or anything independently. Maybe it just is just that, a sustainment fire. Just curious on some of your thoughts and what you have to think, and some ideas that you might have. Maybe I could use. I'd be interested in learning from you guys as well. So, just my, ramblings of an old man here. So, I appreciate your time. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks.